Many people assume that setting up a trust is very expensive. And I'm sure, my friends, you have been also asking yourself the same question to say, setting this trust up, how much does it cost? Well, my friends, worry no more. I'm here to tell you that we're going to dive into the initiation costs. Whilst you are staying right there where you are going to know how much it costs. Above that, we're also going to do a deep dive on what is the operational costs. What is the point of you going to buy a vehicle and then you actually don't know of all these running costs associated to it? That's what I'm going to be teaching you today. My name is TJ. I actually have two trusts that I own myself. The one trust is basically that looks after my family. It is no debt at all. The other one is the trust that where I borrow money using the bank. And behind all of these trusts are different companies. And these companies, that's where I do the business. And we've been having the privilege of speaking to Pateka. And like no any other day, whilst we're talking about the trust, I'll introduce Pateka just now. And she is the expert. She's an attorney by profession. And besides being an attorney, she's been my good attorney for a minute. So she helps me in my personal transactions, or should I say my business transactions, on how things should be done. She also looks after my transactions. So I'm not just bringing someone that I think knows, but I am bringing somebody to you with someone that is already helping me as well. Whilst we journey on this business of building your property business and securing it. Without wasting time, my good friends, Pateka, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, how are you?
Good morning, thank you, and I am good, and how are you?
Amazing stuff. Pateka, let's jump onto the question. People have asked the question, what is the cost of setting up a trust? Let's talk about one trust.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me today. I think let's firstly recap.
Right.
In recapping, we mentioned on one of our videos that one needs to understand the setup. When you want to create a valid structure, what is it that you need to understand? Because I think the cost starts there. On one, understanding the nature of the trust that you want to register. So are you registering a discretionary trust, or are you registering a vested trust? So you need to understand the difference between those two, number one. Then number two, you need to understand what exactly are the responsibilities of the trustees. Then number three, you need to understand what are the rights of the beneficiaries. Because whatever the cost that we are going to be talking about, it starts there. Because should you create a structure that you don't understand yourself, it's going to be very costly for you. So I think also the most important thing is to understand that when you are creating a trust, you are releasing or removing control of the asset from you as a person. So if only we can also understand how is that control being removed, so that you should know that every time you act on behalf of the trust, you are doing it under authority. So meaning you are authorized to act on behalf of the trust. Coming now to, you now understand those things, now you want to start. You want now to set up this trust. So the cost of setting up a trust, registering a trust, remember one, you need to go and approach a legal person, or approach an accountant because they can also help you, or approach some other companies that specialize in registering trust, and then seek a better advice from them, one. Number two, understand the trustee, because the first thing that they will give you is that big document that is over 20 pages where you need to read and understand. And then they will obviously draft the other documents. Then the setting up cost or their fee depends, because I can't say it's how much, but I can safely say it's ranging between 5,000, 6,000 up until 10,000. I've seen some charging 12,000 to register a trust. Again, it depends on how big the portfolio is, because if you are just registering a trust and there's maybe no property yet, or maybe there's one property, or maybe there's two properties, there isn't much to deal with. So it also depends on how big the portfolio is, but the cost of setting up, it differs from each company or each legal person. And also having to touch base to what you mentioned as well as the operational cost, because I think we mentioned on our previous video as well about the operational cost. The most important thing to understand as a founder and a trustee of the trust is that when you register, you need to have a bank account opened.
Wait, Patek.
Sorry.
Let's just I want to make sure that the viewers today, they understand just setting up alone. So you're saying it's a range of?
It's ranging
5,000?
between 5,000, some they charge 6, some they charge 8, until I would say 12,000. That's the highest I've seen.
Okay.
Yes.
So my good friends, Patek is bringing you a good deal here. I paid 15,000 for my trust. However, Patek, you're also saying that this has to do with the complexity of your lifestyle as an individual.
True. Yeah.
So as you all know, my life is very complicated. And what are some of the complexities, Patek, that may cause the setting up costs to be higher?
Yeah. Okay. If I can just mention one, because I haven't come across such. So because a lot of guys that are approaching me, they either have one trust or they have two trusts, or the trust doesn't have anything.
Sure.
So what I've seen from my colleagues is that, one, it happens that maybe someone has got, let me say, 2 wives or 3 wives, and then
I'm aspiring to get there. That's why I needed the trust to be put in a certain way and allow for that.
Yeah, so again, it means should a founder be the one, I'm obviously referring to a male, be a one who has got more than one wife.
Right.
Then
like Jacob Zuma. So Jacob Zuma is
there's
now
a
8,
huge,
right?
yes.
8 wives. So
Yes.
basically, you as the attorney now need to consider
each and every
individual.
yes, especially if he's registering one trust, to incorporate everyone without registering each trust for each household.
If you're in property investment, at some point or the other, you've had to evict someone. And I know, my friends, it is a painful exercise. But I'm here to tell you that for the last couple of years, I've been using a company that is called Expello. Expello, basically what they do is that you pay them a monthly fee, and over and above that, whenever you get a delinquent tenant, they will come and evict that individual free of charge, because obviously you've been paying, right? And over and above that, you don't have to do anything. But guess what? I have managed to organize a good price for you. And the link here that you're seeing, which is called expello.link./TJ Tribe, gets you a great discount from Expello. So my friends, don't be caught with your pants down on your tenant. Just Expello them with Expello. It is TJ. Let's go back to the video.
Right.
So it depends. And then also it depends on how many companies the person has. Because if you have like more than 3 companies, for example, obviously I'm talking about or referring to companies that are already operating, not just companies that are registered and doing nothing. So those companies, they have assets of registered or bought under the company. So remember, when we talk about structuring, we are saying allow the trust to own shares. So when we talk about owning those shares, we're referring to the shares of those companies. So those companies are companies that are owning assets, and those assets will then, by transferring their shareholding, be owned by the trust.
Yeah. But what about if you got kids from different, let me call them wives, or different baby mamas? Does that also?
It also, because I usually recommend. I know that a lot of clients, they don't like that question where you are asking how many children you have, and then someone is going to tell you about 2, and then you'll be asking, are there any other children? Because again, it doesn't mean it's not wrong to have kids. So it doesn't mean that. But the most important, which is the reason why I'm asking that question, is to ensure, because we are creating or we are planning our estate while we are still alive. So
Right.
the importance then is to make sure that whoever is your beneficiary is able to benefit, unless that's not your wish.
What I'm hearing from you, Patega, is the less complicated your life or your lifestyle is, the less you're going to
The
pay.
less you're going to pay.
Because basically, you as an attorney, you're taking something that is off the shelf and you can give it to someone else.
Yes.
The more their lifestyle is complicated, and we just touched on 3 things here, but there's more, right? You
Yes,
spoke of the
true.
company, you spoke about how they are married, how many wives they have, and how many kids they may have.
Yeah.
And are those kids in a nuclear family or not? So all of these creates complicated. Are you wanting to look after your parents, your uncles, your aunts, and dogs? All of these creates complications in your trust. So my friends, you had it. Anything from 5,000 to, I'm gonna take 15. And the reason why I'm taking 15 is because I paid 15. But Patega said up to 12, so maybe she's giving you a discount. But at the time of recording, my friends, that is the cost of setting up, not running it, just setting it up so that you can have a trust.